Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Ali, Coram, and Ken Shreve here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, where we saw a mildly mixed day ahead of the July jobs report, Ken.
Yeah, another big drop in oil prices. Oil below $90 a barrel for the first time since February, I think, and so definitely getting relief at the pump. But yeah, mildly mixed, and we'll take a look at three stocks today. A volatile reaction to earnings from Lantheus, but it did hold support at its 50-day moving average. Monolithic Power Systems, today's stock of the day. We'll kind of take a look at that one, and finally a home builder that is near a 52-week high. That's kind of a rarity, but we'll take a look at Green Brick Partners.
All right, we'll get to that. First, let's take a look at the major indexes. So like I mentioned, a mildly mixed day. The Nasdaq was able to finish in the green, though, up about 0.4%. Meanwhile, we had the Dow down at 0.3% today. In between, we had the S&P 500 down about 0.1%. The Russell down 0.2%. So the Nasdaq continuing to power ahead here, Ken, and getting above key levels. The same can't be said for the other major indexes quite yet.
That's right. Nasdaq still looking good here. It's probably at a point, as we talked about on IBD Live this morning, that we maybe expect to see a little bit of a pullback here on Monday and Tuesday. We had good tight action, not much of a pullback though, but that's the way the Nasdaq took a little breather on those 2 days. But it would be nice to see a little pullback here to digest recent gains, but definitely seeing a lot of improved action in the stock market among individual stocks. And as we've been talking about, we've got the green light to start buying some stocks, but still a tricky market where finding the right buy prospects is still not that easy.
Yeah, and especially with the earnings, it can be really tricky, as we will get to shortly. Let's also take a look at the S&P 500 and Dow here. You can see that we are still below or right around those highs from early June, so a bit of a resistance level potentially here. It also would make sense to see a pause at these levels.
Absolutely, and again, when we're talking about a pause for the market, we want to see that pause in light volume. We've got a very light distribution day count working in our favor. Basically, a distribution day is a higher volume decline in an index and a meaningful percentage decline. We don't want to see signs of institutional selling at this stage of the game. So if the market or if the S&P 500 and Nasdaq start to pull back from current levels, we'll just watch that volume and make sure it's an orderly pullback in light volume. And if we get distribution or signs of institutional selling, it's not the end of the world. But if you start to see more and more of it over a short period of time, that could pose problems for this uptrend. But so far so good here.
Okay, and just a very brief look at the Dow to show the similar action here, still below the early June highs, but holding above that round number at 32,000. And also, since you mentioned oil coming off today, let's take a look here. Here's USO, which is just a rough visual proxy for the price of oil, down about 2.7% here. So almost getting close to retesting that low from mid-July. Your thoughts on the action in this group? I mean, it seems like some names in the sector that I checked in on were holding up today, but could this be a little bit of pressure on those stocks?
Yeah, I mean, it's oil and gas sector is very tricky right now. I mentioned oil closed below $90 today. I think it settled at around $88, lowest level since February, and that's over concerns of a slowdown and maybe a decrease in demand. But whether you're playing the drillers or the oil and gas producers, it's very, very difficult. We've seen outstanding earnings reports in the sector, but this strong bottom line and top line growth really hasn't been rewarded. Still seeing a lot of oil and gas stocks having problems at their 50-day moving average. So not sure that this area of the market is ready to provide bona fide leadership. But in terms of USO, we'll see if it can hold this long-term support level here, the 200-day moving average.
All right. Well, we'll continue to keep an eye on the action in that sector. Meanwhile, let's take a look at a big earnings move today. A wild day of action for Lantheus here. LNTH in the medical products group closing down about 6%, right around that 21-day line. Did find a little bit of support at the 50-day, but we'll just check in on the intraday chart here because you can see a strong open and then immediately a pretty huge reversal in the first 10 minutes or so of trade, Ken. So this one was kind of all over the place today.
Yeah, I mean, this was a surprising reaction. I was talking with my colleague Dave Chung yesterday, and we knew that Lantheus was probably priced to perfection headed into this earnings report, and that we would need a really, really outstanding earnings report and very, very bullish guidance, to support where it's currently trading. And we actually got that. I mean, this not only did they beat the bottom line and top line significantly, but they also raised their revenue guidance significantly. And so normally when you get significantly raised sales guidance, that typically rewards stocks. But sellers were still in Lantheus today. It did hold support at the 50-day moving average, and weekly chart gives a little better perspective here. You can see it's not really a broken stock despite the selling today, holding that 10-week line. So still holding it on leaderboard, and we'll just watch how it trades in coming days. I suspect it's should hopefully be a lot less volatile than it was today.
We'll have to see about an outside week taking shape in strong volume. We'll have to see where it closes, if it can continue to find that support at that key moving average, as you said, Ken. And next on our list, let's take a look at MPWR, showing strength this week, up 14% so far. Strong volume behind the move, clearing a trend line. And this is in the semiconductor space, a very similar look to it as we saw in recent weeks from the likes of Cadence Design Systems and Synopsys in the design software group, long-term leaders.
Yeah. So chip stocks, we've seen a lot of good earnings reports in this area of the market. I want to talk about Monolithic Power Systems because it was today's stock of the day. Patrick Seitz, who covers the chip sector for us, did the stock of the day today. And Monolithic Power Systems is in a really good niche market. I always have problems saying niche market, but they're a provider of power management solutions for electronic systems. You find them in data centers, the automotive market. So it's in a lot of good markets, and you can see the stock gapped up Tuesday after reporting really strong earnings. So the lesson here is that we're not going to chase Monolithic Power Systems at current price levels, because it just ran up so much over its 200-day moving average. It ran up over the 500 level. So we're just watching for a new entry here. And this is really, I think, an important point for investors to think about right now, is that even though you may not be finding buy prospects, and you're seeing a lot of extended stocks like Monolithic Power Systems, we're seeing a lot of strong moves with volume off of lows. So for that reason, Monolithic Power is just a good one for the watch list, and just to see how it digests its gains. Maybe it's going to hold above the 500 level here, but we do need to see some sort of sideways movement, maybe a drifting lower in light volume, and maybe once attention turns away from the stock, that could pave the way for a meaningful breakout here. But I'd just be cautious about chasing the stock right now.
Absolutely. And let's round things out with a look at GRBK, Green Brick, in the residential commercial building group. A strong move on earnings today, Ken, up 14% on the day. Some strong volume, which we also saw as the stock was building this right side of the base here in a couple of sessions, but really powering higher today.
Yeah, now it's tough to find leadership in the home building group. The home builders have started to rally because interest rates have come down quite a bit, as we've been talking about, and 30-year mortgage a lot cheaper than it was recently, as interest rates had lowered here. So it's possible we could see home builders start to pick up the pace here. But Green Brick is interesting because I mentioned this is the only stock that is up near an all-time high. There's still a lot of most other stocks in this group that are regarded as industry titans or, very liquid institutional quality names, a lot of them are still below their 200-day moving averages. So green brick is worth watching here, not only because of a great record of earnings and sales, but they're in a lot of, key markets, Dallas, Fort Worth, they're in Atlanta, areas of Colorado, and the Treasure Coast area of Florida. So they're in some good markets, and it's got the top line growth, but totally different industry than monolithic power systems, but same sort of situation. Several up weeks in a row with some volume. Definitely a stock showing signs of accumulation, but you want to wait for a pullback here. Don't want to chase it at current levels. It's at a level where you could see a pullback, and I think we could see a new entry on this one. Just need it to digest gains a bit.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for that, Ken. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we have our Swing Trader Scorecard webinar. So if you're a subscriber or trialist, make sure you check that out. Go to swingtrader.investors.com and click on the link in the top banner for our monthly webinar, where we will be breaking down July performance and talking about strategies that we're utilizing in the current market. So looking forward to seeing you all there. And tomorrow morning on IBD Live, we have Arusha Piris, portfolio manager at O'Neill Global Advisors, joining the panel for his special monthly appearance. Always great to see him. And then coming up at 5 p.m. Eastern for Trader Tales with IBD, I've got John Boyk. He is a market historian and book author of some great trading books. He really has been able to tap into the mindset and strategies of some of the top traders of our time. So I'm looking forward to him dropping some knowledge on my YouTube channel come Friday afternoon. So make sure you are joining us for that. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.